you for joining us for our Friday's edition of Press Review right here on Luntha TV. Today being the 30th of June in the year 2023. It is yet another time that we take you through some of the stories that are appearing in our newspapers, and today we're with me, Tandy Winsmara, and I will be taking you through the Daily Times. Straight to it, on the front page headline here reads, "Report dampens MCP's prospects," and part of the story reads that the latest Economic Intelligence Country Report from Malawi, released on June 28, 2023, says President Lazarus Chakwera and his Malawi Congress Party MCP face a probable defeat at the 2025 elections. The report, which gives an outlook for 2023-2027 in various areas, including political and economic landscapes, also says while the country will generally remain secure, it will politically be unstable with a highly fractured political setting. But government spokesperson Moses Konkuyu dismissed the probable defeat and political instability, saying in a democracy there is freedom of association and that no single partner has pulled out of the alliance. I think this has to do with the Tonse alliance. The report rather is it's more like an outlook. It's giving an outlook of how they think the political situation is in the country, and I would say that it is revealing. It has been released on the 20th, that is on Wednesday, and I would say all these are more of assumptions of what the report has found, because obviously a research was made here on the political outlook of the country, and it seems things are not looking so well for the MCP. And of course, the government spokesperson rather is defending the released report, no, more like the findings of the report, is defending the government spokesperson Moses Konkuyu is dismissing the probable defeat, saying that in a democracy there is freedom of association and that no single partner has pulled out of the alliance. Still on the front page, a headline here reads, Chakwera pleads for debt relief, and part of the story reads that President Lazarus Chakwera has pleaded with the Chinese government to consider cancelling debts for African countries, including Malawi, or at least restructuring repayment modalities. Chakwera said by doing so, China would lead developed countries in helping developing African countries such as Malawi achieve exponential growth. Now, the president is in China for the China-Africa Economic and Trade Expo, and of course he is attending that, and yesterday he did deliver a keynote speech, among other things he pleaded for debt relief, as it stays in the story here, for Malawi and other African countries. Now, still on local news, a headline here is government budgets 320 million kwacha for Independence Day, and part of the story reads that the Catholic Commission for Justice and Peace, CCJP, has advised government to be cautious about its expenditure on Independence Day celebrations, which fall on July 6th every year. CCJP National Coordinator Boniface Wana said this in an interview yesterday in reaction to government's announcement that this year's July 6th celebrations will cost 320 million kwacha. I believe that there are reactions, a lot of reactions to this. I followed up on some social media comments when these online updates were flowing about the budget for this year's Independence Day celebrations. As you know, this year on the 6th of July, we are celebrating 59 years since Malawi became independent, and as is the case, we are to celebrate this year, and the government has this whole plan for this year's celebrations, of which would be held under the theme celebrating renewed unity and patriotism. And apparently heads of states from neighboring countries are expected to attend. I'm assuming that is the reason why the budget is that high. However, this is coming at a time when there's so many issues that we have going around that are going so wrong in the country, economic-wise. And so social commentators, organizations, human rights activists, they have so much to say on this, to say, can government be cautious about the expenditure? I mean, that money could be used for so many things that we need in the country. We could think of that money could be used to help maybe in buying drugs in hospitals, or maybe even other needs in the health sector, the education sector. Other than this, it feels like most people feel like the money is not really worth, or that money is not really worth being used for a celebration, and especially speaking of this, the celebration being independence, because independence is about a whole country, it's about the whole country, it's about Malawians. But why should other Malawians celebrate while others, especially those in the rural settings, they are suffering? So people do believe that that money could help in several other ways other than what it wants to be used for by government. Okay, now moving on to business news, I'll take one here. A headline reads, NPC commends Standard Bank. The part of the story reads that the National Planning Commission has commended Standard Bank for taking a leading role in contributing to national economic development. NPC Director General Thomas Matali was speaking in Lilongwe at the launch of the bank's 2022 report to society. Matali urged the bank to consider providing long-term financing to help the country create more wealth. Now, from business news, I will take you to international news. A headline here reads, presumed human remains found in Titan subdivers. And part of the story reads that presumed human remains have been found within the wreckage of the Titan submersible, the United States U.S. Coast Guard has said. Pieces from the sub, which imploded on a deep dive to the Titanic, were unloaded in St. John's, Canada on Wednesday. Officials say the sub's landing frame and rear cover were found among the debris. I don't know if most of you have been following on this issue. There were about 5 billionaires who got into this submersible on more of like a tour. They wanted to tour the Titanic. And unfortunately, that did not go so well, and all of them died. And apparently, this report here says that they are presuming that the remains of the 5 billionaires, they are presuming that they are the remains that have been found in the submersible. Yes. Okay, now moving on to arts and culture. Let's see what we have in here in the Daily Times. Headline here reads, Farmer embarks on trainings, and part of the story reads that as part of equipping filmmakers in the country with new knowledge to produce quality work, Film Association of Malawi Farmer has been holding training in Mzuzu, which ends today. Farmer President Gifsuge Sukali said yesterday that the training they have been conducting in Mzuzu is part of a series of trainings that they have lined up as an association as part of capacity building. He said that as an association they want to make filmmakers, directors, actors, actresses and all those involved in making movies to be equipped with proper knowledge. And that is why they decided to hold the training. I think it is a good idea because I know that as a country we're not really that successful as far as filmmaking. We're not yet successful in as far as filmmaking is concerned. And I believe the main aim of FAMA for this training is that they want to equip all these people who are involved, be producers, actors, the actresses, to have the skills that they need to actually excel in that industry. And I believe that at the end of the day, it would actually help us to put Malawi as a country on the map in as far as filmmaking is concerned, because just to make us be part of the other countries, because there are so many countries out there who are actually very successful in as far as filmmaking is concerned. Speak of Nigeria, speak of Zambia, Ghana, our fellow African countries, even those international countries who are very successful. And I believe that this is a step towards the right direction. Still on arts and culture, a headline here reads the Mlaka to release a single on birthday, and part of the story reads that Mlaka Maliro is set to drop his second single this year titled Malire, in which he has collaborated with Suffix. The song will be released on Monday, which also happens to be Mlaka's birthday. Mlaka said yesterday that the track is a gift to all fans on his birthday. Right, I believe all those Mlaka Malilo fans out there cannot wait to hear what they are cooking up, and it should be a great collaboration, seeing as he's working with Suffix. Okay, moving on to the back page of the newspaper, that's with local sports. A headline here reads Last Warning. Sub-headline reads Mbinga to withdraw sponsorship if Wanderers supporters misbehave again. And part of the story reads that the mighty Mukuru Wanderers president Thomson Mbinga has threatened to withdraw sponsorship should the team's supporters misbehave again. The warning comes barely a week after the supporters barred the team's players from boarding the team's bus after a 1-1 draw with Leeds Dynamos at Kamuzu Stadium. And about 3 weeks ago, the supporters forced team captain Stanley Sanudi to kneel before them and apologize following a 1-0 loss to Extreme FC at Bingo National Stadium. I understand why Thomson Mbinga here wants to take such a drastic measure. It seems, I do understand that sometimes emotions do run high if our teams do not win, the sports teams that we support, if things don't go away. But I do believe that it is rather an exaggeration of the reactions by the supporters. So perhaps maybe Thomson Mbinga's decision to think of withdrawing sponsorship to the Wanderers could actually kick in some sense to the supporters here, because if they continue with the route that they are taking in terms of reactions to how the team performs in their games, it means that there will be no team for them to support anymore since sponsorship will be withdrawn. So I think let that be a lesson to the supporters. We should understand that we lose some and we win some. We cannot always win and things cannot always go our way. That's not how it works. Okay, still on local sports, a headline here, it's Flames 3 places up on FIFA rankings, and part of the story reads that despite comical displays in recent matches, Malawi national football team has gone up 3 places on the latest FIFA rankings, which were released yesterday. The Flames are now on position 126 from 129 in the world, with 1,133 points. However, Malawi are still below Zimbabwe, who have been inactive for almost a year due to a FIFA ban. The Warriors are on position 124 in the world. I believe we can do better, because if a country that has not played for a year can beat us, and yet we are actually active, it actually should knock some sense into us that we can do better and we should do better. Okay, now to the last part, and that is with international sport. A headline here, this one's also on football. It says Arsenal agree Rice deal, and part of the story reads that Arsenal have agreed a deal worth 105 million euros to sign West Ham's England midfielder Declan Rice. Talks are continuing between the clubs over how the deal will be structured for the 24-year-old. It follows a third bid from the Gunners, having previously had 2 bids rejected after falling short of their 100 million euros West Ham want. Alright, that story also brings us to the end of what we had for you in this edition of Press Review for today, Friday the 30th of June. It is yet the last day of the month of June. Hopefully, all our plans that we planned to execute in the month of June, hopefully that we were able to execute them, and if we were not able to, do not worry. The end of this month means the beginning of another one, so do not lose hope, do not worry. We have all the time that we might need to actually execute that. And of course today also marks we're actually the end of 6 months, the first 6 months of the year 2023. That means we also have 6 months to go until this year ends. So I know that every year, at the beginning of every year, each one of us do have plans, new year plans, new year, new me, and we have all these plans laid up. And I know that sometimes not everything goes according to plan, but do not lose hope. We still have 6 months to go, and that is a lot of time for us to still make up for what we could not make up for. And of course, in as far as this program is concerned, if you want to know more details of the stories we read and some of which we could not, do make sure to visit the paper, going at the price of 1,200 kwacha. And of course, do continue following the rest of our programs right here on Luntha TV. My name is Tandi Zamara. Good morning.